As I said in my previous video, I will be solving the challenge 11 using Power Query. So today I will show my Power Query approach to solve this problem. In my previous video, I already solved this problem using Excel 365 dynamic array formulas. So you can watch that video also. So let me explain the problem first. You can see I have two columns. The first column is order date, second column is total sales. So I'll create a report based on week number. So in the report, I will have three columns. The first column will be week number, second column will be date range, and the third column will be cumulative sales amount. And in the date range column, I will have the earliest date and the latest date for each week. To solve the problem, first I will extract the week number for each date. So I will click on add column and click on date, and from week I will select week of month. Now it will return the week number, but I have to revise this week number because I want to start my day of the week from Saturday. So here I will revise my code. If I write comma here, you can see it is asking for first day of the week. So it will be Saturday. So I'll write day.Saturday. If I hit OK, so the week number has changed starting from 2. So I can easily say that 1st November of 2024 is Friday. So which is actually the first week of the month. As I want to start from 1, so I will subtract 1 from this week number. If I hit OK, now my week number is OK. As I want to calculate the cumulative sales amount for each week, so I will obviously use the group by function. So now I will click on group by. Here the column name will be date range and the operations will be all rows. For now, I will revise this operation later. Now I will click on advanced and click on add aggregation for another column, which is total sales, and operations will be sum and the column will be total sales. If I hit OK, now I have three columns. The first column is week of month, second column is date range, and the third column is total sales. You can see in the date range column I have table. If I click on this side, it is actually the sub table for each week. So it is the first week and I have the order date and total sales. Now I will call the order date column. So I will write the column name in the square bracket, which is order date. If I remove this portion, which is actually the data type for each column, it will not break my code. If I hit OK, now the table has been transformed into a list. If I click on this side, this is actually the date for first week. To create the date range, I need the earliest date, latest date, and finally concatenate these two dates to create the date range. So I have to make different calculation and store them into a variable. So my first variable name will be a. To store this column into this variable, so you can write any other variable name, and I have to keep them into square bracket to create the record, because this record will allow me to create different fields. If I hit OK, you can see the list has been transformed into a record. If I click on this side, now you can see the list has been stored into A. So this is my first field. Now I will create the second field, I mean the second item for my earliest date. Now I will write comma and press shift enter to create a new line. So the second variable will be B and the function will be List.Min to return the earliest date, and the list will be A. If I hit OK and click on this side, you can see I have the earliest date. Now I will write comma and shift enter, and the third variable will be C and the function will be List.Max, and the list will be A. If I hit OK and click on this side, now I have three items and the last item is my latest date. Now I will finally calculate my date range. So now I will press shift enter again to create the new line, and the last variable will be D. Now I will concatenate B, use ampersand to concatenate with C. And in between them, I will write 2 and I will give space before and after 2. And again, I will write ampersand to concatenate C, which is actually my latest date. If I click on this side, now I have the error in D. If I click on record and click on error, you can see we cannot apply operator and to types date and text. So I will remove this step. So I have to transform this date into text. So I will use Date.ToText function, comma, and the format will be date format DDMM, and I have to write M in capital letter, again hyphen and YY. I will close the bracket, and here I have to Date.ToText function again to transform the latest date into text. So I'll write DDMMYY and close the bracket. If I hit OK, now if I click on this side, you can see in my fourth field, I have the date range. Now I will call this fourth item. So I'll write the D in the square bracket. If I hit OK, now I have my expected date range and this is my expected report. I hope you like my approach. And thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.